would much rather be drinking out of my Gloria Patri cup, but this one will have to do. Before I go pick up my sister from the airport, I want to talk to you guys about some things because I feel like the Catholic content creator world is finally starting to kind of mellow out a little bit. When I first got on the scene of being a Catholic content creator, if that's what you want to call it, I don't really like that term. I didn't really go into this for the content creation, but that's part of how I reached people during COVID, so that's kind of what I rolled with. Not that I think there's anything inherently bad about it or anything like that. I think people just kind of peg us as influencers, and to an extent, rightly so. I mean, there are certain things that are definitely similar, but there are also a lot of things that are different. Anyways, I'm not about to go on a tangent about that. I do need more coffee though. Like, I'm basically out, almost. A travesty, really. Anywho, I feel like the tides are kind of changing with how people are viewing online content creators for Catholicism, and I'm very, very grateful for that. And maybe I won't be able to articulate this the exact way that I want to, so I apologize for that. I've never been the best with words, but it's always felt somewhat divided online. Catholics have always kind of felt divided online, and granted, like, there's going to be division, there's going to be things we disagree on here or there, but my whole thing is when I came back into my faith, I was like super duper hard-headed about certain things regarding the Latin Mass, regarding, I can't really think of anything else at the moment, veiling maybe even, like hardcore, like you have to do this type of thing, you have to go to the Latin Mass, it's the only appropriate Mass. And when I look back on that and I look at the people who I was listening to and I was watching on a daily basis, it makes sense that I held that view because I was watching people who were very, passionate, let's say, about their stances on the Latin Mass, about, you know, certain things regarding that. And therefore, I became very passionate about those exact same things. Who you watch the most or whatever you watch the most really does change your perspective on things. And there are obviously still some things that I am very hard-headed about, but I also acknowledge that the church has an actual teaching about these types of things and that my word is literally just my opinion. At the end of the day, it really means nothing, and what the church teaches is actually important. And I feel like people are finally waking up and getting tired of this very hostile approach of people attacking our hierarchy, of people attacking the Pope, of people giving less than charitable interpretations of what the Pope or the cardinals are doing or saying. They're tired, people are tired of rage baiting. And honestly, I'm right there with you guys. The only issue is that cortisol sells. Okay, people are addicted to cortisol. They're addicted to negative emotions, and it's very evident with how things are on X. It's very evident with how easy it is to hop on a hating bandwagon train for somebody you don't even know. It's just so obvious to see that people are really, really addicted to drama. They're really addicted to negativity, but like, that's not healthy, and that's not who we are called to be as Christians. If your entire platform is built on tearing others down, yeah, you might gain a ton of followers, but what's that if you're losing your soul to the internet? And the funny thing is like, I don't even have to name names, and I won't name names because sometimes it's the people you expect, sometimes it's the people you don't expect. You guys can make that conscious choice for yourself through observation. But the thing is that we really do need to be careful about the content we're consuming, whether it's from Catholics, non-Catholics, secular media, etc., because it really does change the way we think about the world, it changes the way we think about ourselves, about God, and we need to be aware of those changes because I think it can creep up on us really, really easily. For example, I used to be super adamant that women had to veil. Women had to wear dresses to Mass or skirts or something that was like, I don't know, below the knee length or something. And by me saying that in this video does not mean you should not do that. I'm just saying that it's like, give some grace to people who need it. Maybe that guy's wearing a hoodie to daily Mass because he literally just got off work. Maybe that woman standing in the back in literal rags is a homeless woman and that's the best thing she has to wear. Where was I going with this? I guess the point is, like I said, there were certain things that I was very hard-headed about, right? Like, you had to go to the traditional Latin Mass. The Novus Ordo was always going to be a clown Mass or things of that nature. I've always said that the Novus Ordo is valid, but I definitely think I stirred some controversy back in the day because I was just like, you have to go to the TLM, it's superior. And I still have a preference for the traditional Latin Mass. I love everything about it. I think it's very beautiful, and that's why I'm drawn to it, among other reasons, of course, that I've talked about in videos previous to this. But I've also gone to some very beautiful Novus Ordo Masses, and I've only really been to like 2 or 3 clown guitar Masses, if you could say that, in the last like 6 years that I've reverted. And I see some people, some Catholics, saying that like, oh, if you don't go to the TLM, you're not a real Catholic. Oh, if you don't go to the traditional Latin Mass, you don't actually like Catholicism, you like Protestantism. I have friends who genuinely like the Novus Ordo Mass, and for me, as somebody who was raised in both, the Novus Ordo Mass can be nostalgic. And while it's still not my favorite, we don't worship the rubric of the Mass. And so people will tell me like, oh, well, you're a trad and like all of this stuff. So if, Pope Leo bans the traditional Latin Mass, what are you gonna do? I'm gonna be obedient. We've literally gone through so much worse, and this isn't the first time the Latin Mass has been banned or has been tried to be banned or whatever, but God rewards obedience. Even if what we're being obedient to feels unjust, it is a chance for us to grow in humility, for us to grow in trust with God, for us to grow in faith. But so many people will take to the spirit of retaliation almost immediately without even realizing that that's basically the spirit of Lucifer. Lucifer retaliated against God. I'm not saying you can't be upset about it. I'm just saying that obedience is a lot more important and beneficial for your soul than disobedience, retaliation, and rejection. It's hard. I know, like some of the saints have gone through some of the most horrible things we could possibly think of, and we're just like, this could potentially be banned. Let me type on my computer. Yeah. I don't really know why I'm rambling about this, to be honest. I kind of just wanted to sit down and talk at the camera because that's kind of the new vibe I'm going for. Originally, I was going to give up YouTube altogether just because it became such, I don't want to say a vice. It wasn't a vice, but it was really wrecking havoc on my life and the amount of hours that I was spending just editing and filming and stuff and writing scripts and trying to get content out was just so much. 65 hours a week, guys. But I prefer this kind of format better, going back to my OG format in a way where I just kind of sit and yap at you guys. So I apologize if that's not something that you like, but it's definitely something that I need to do for myself, and I'll still be kind of putting out content here and there. It's just not going to be as consistent. There have just been a lot of life changes recently, and family comes first, and my husband comes first, and my responsibilities and my vocation, all that stuff comes first before I film any content, and that's how it's always been, and that's how it'll always be. And I love you guys. You guys are like friends and family to me. So I obviously still want to stay connected, but I just can't do it to the amount that I was doing it previously. Anyways, moving on. I guess as I've gotten older and like my frontal lobe has closed, I've just started realizing how important it is to just know what the church believes. Not what XYZ influencer believes or what this theologian believes or what this philosopher thinks or anything like that. What does the church teach? Because for the most part, the Catholic Church does have a teaching on almost everything. And if it doesn't have an explicit teaching on something, you can usually figure out what the church would think or would say just based off of that topic and what they've talked about in other situations. So basically, I'm just saying, if there is an influencer out there who's coming up to you guys, not coming up to you guys, that'd be creepy. If there's just like an influencer out there that you're watching or a creator that you're watching, whatever, and they're just like, this is law, or they're saying things in such an authoritative tone that it almost sounds like it's supposed to be taken as gospel, make sure you know what the church actually teaches, not what this person is saying, not even what I'm saying. And I've said this for years. Always do your own research. Always go to the catechism. Always go to the Catholic Bible. Always go to sources where you can actually learn what the Catholic Church teaches and what the Catholic Church says. Because unfortunately, people are human, okay? We're human. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to make errors. And even though it is a huge weight on us to be able to not lead you guys into error and to not lead you guys down the wrong path, there are a lot of people out there who do it by accident, on purpose, nobody really knows. So you need to be the steward of your own soul. Make sure you're not consuming content that's making you question your faith or become hostile towards the authority of the church. Because let me remind you what happened last time that happened in the 1500s. I don't need to remind you, hopefully. A lot of Catholics died. And if you want to know how they died, you should check out this book. Not sponsored, just go check it out. My friend Father Nixon wrote it or translated it or something. Reader discretion is advised. It's not for children. It's very gory. I actually felt sick while reading it, so maybe don't actually read. No, you should. You should know the truth about what happened during the Protestant Revolution. Anyways, I need to go pick up my sister here soon. Guys, I don't know. I guess, you know what? I guess the point of this video, of me yapping at you for the last almost 20 minutes, even though this is probably going to get edited down to at least 10, maybe 15 minutes because I'm gonna probably cut out a lot of what I say because it's not important. I think it's just really easy for us to start looking at our favorite content creators, our favorite philosophers, our favorite anybody, and being like, oh my gosh, what they're saying is gospel. Like, this is true. Like, what they're saying is 100% infallible. And that's not the case. I mean, that's not even the case for the Pope. The Pope is fallible too. The only time he isn't is when he's speaking ex cathedra. So it's like, you have to understand that we are human. Okay, I speak for myself as well here. I'm not just putting myself on a high horse here and telling you guys like all those other content creators. Ho ho ho. No, not at all. A lot of them are my friends and I love them to death. I think they do wonderful things for the church. But I'm also telling you guys that you can't take every single thing we say as gospel. You do actually have to learn about the faith on your own time. Get your own catechism, get your own Bible, listen to Catholic Answers and what they have to say, because Catholic Answers do base everything they say off of what the Catholic Church has said. They just kind of explain it more in depth, give you more resources, tell you where to go find things. So those are my top 3 resources: the Bible, Catholic Answers, and the Catechism of the Catholic Church. I'll link all of my favorites below for you guys, just so you guys can have them if you want. Actually, I think I did a video about this recently. I'll link that below too, like things that you should get when you're just starting off as a Catholic type of thing. But yeah, it's just really, really important for you to do your own research, to make sure that you know what the church teaches, not what, Billy Bob from the Billy Bob country thinks. Because I think it's great to have opinions. I think it's fine to have opinions. But we also need to acknowledge that the Catholic Church allows things or doesn't allow things, has teaching on things, has dogmas about things. But it's not up for us to decide if the Catholic Church has already decided a decision on something. It's not for us to be like, actually, I think the Catholic Church is wrong about this because X, Y, and Z, whatever. And we also need to have respect for the hierarchy. We need to have respect for our Pope, our bishops, our priests, our lay, our brothers, our nuns, our sisters. We need to have respect for the holy orders. And I feel like, this is another topic. I have to leave to get my sister soon, but this is really quick. Another topic is I feel like religious orders are being turned into celebrities. And what I mean by that is I see a lot of priests and nuns and sisters who have social media, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that in theory. But the issue is that when they become a celebrity, there's this whole other level of just trickiness. I feel like I'm not really great with articulating what I mean, but you know what I mean? Like, there's just this other level of okay, they're a holy order and they're a priest, and they took a vow of poverty, or they're a sister, they took a vow of poverty, or this or that or the other thing, but people are treating them like they would Britney Spears almost. It's just kind of weird. And don't get me wrong, I love everybody. This isn't on them specifically, and I'm not even speaking about one particular person. It's more of just something I've seen over time happen since 2020. It's just people are treating religious orders and priests and nuns and whatever like some sort of celebrity. And I've seen this firsthand in real life with people who are actual internet famous people, but then also people who aren't. They're just priests, they're just deacons. And not to say they're just that, that's amazing, but they're not online, but people still treat them like a celebrity. And I've seen people go up to them and be like, oh my gosh, Father, can we get a picture or this or that because of, I don't know, something. Or I've actually seen priests get grabbed by people. I've seen priests just yoinked around, and have some respect for the religious. Again, I don't articulate myself very well. Hopefully you guys just know what I'm saying, because it's just very frustrating for me to see the holy orders almost get cheapened by social media and get cheapened by celebrity culture. So there's that too. That's been bugging me a lot. So I'm glad I could get that off my chest. And again, it's nothing against the priests or whoever that is actually on social media. I don't think it's necessarily wrong for them to have a social media presence, because social media is a mission field and that's how you're going to reach a lot of people. But I also think that there needs to be clearer boundaries. I don't know if it's really beneficial for priests to be participating in trends or to be making TikToks that make them out to be super duper relatable and goofy. I mean, on the one hand, you want them to do things like that so they are relatable, so that you feel like you can go to them, they're human and whatnot. But on the other hand, they're also sometimes in persona Christi, like during confession, during mass, like they're also representations of Christ on earth. Like it's like I understand wanting the priest to be relatable so that the younger generation feels connected to them. But at the same time, that almost feels like it cheapens the priesthood or the nunnery or this or that. And you guys can have a completely different opinion. I would love to discuss this in the comments because I'm so open to changing my mind about this. If you guys have like, oh, it helps because X, Y, and Z, or, whatever. But I just personal opinion, not dogma, okay? You guys can have your own opinion about this. I just feel like it doesn't really help with the reverence and respect we're supposed to be giving to priests and nuns and sisters for their religious orders and the bravery that takes and for the commitment and everything. So I don't know. Food for thought. I'd love to know what you guys think in the comments below. Don't forget to sub. And I'm going to go pick up my sister from the airport. Toodles!